These were some of the best highlights from all the matches of the day at Worlds 2024.
We'll have to see how they're going to try and play that one out.
That was an interesting cover. They were kind of expecting a little delayed invade there.
Oh, Mickey, Kerry is there. Mickey tries to dredge line away. The charm moots him in place, and I don't think Mickey needs to burn the flash here. He knows he's done for. First blood to T1.
And I really think G2 actually had the slight read on this. They thought that there was going to be a delayed invade. That's why Broken Blade actually hovered over by Raptor camp.
Didn't burn anything again, and the gank is low HP.
And it's a really nice job here in the early stages from Yike. He gets the top crab, immediately move bot, gets bot 1, covers there in the mid play for Caps 2. And now you're in a position where you've a bit of a nice 8 CS lead for yourself.
Zenith played in. Kerry's going to have to flash away Hans Summer. One more adoration for Hans Summer on his Draven.
Draven cashes in! Even though Mickey went down in the level 1, Hans Sama gets paid here. Immediately. Duo lane going up towards the top side. Broken Blade wants to try and push a little bit further.
I mean, Zeus has flash, has the explosive cast. Hans has both his summoners as well, but Hans Summer continues to put axes into the back of Zeus. The cleanse away from Hans flashes forward. Zeus flashes away, will get the slow with the cask. Hans now in the middle of the minions, doesn't have a ward to place. Zeus can open up and Zeus finds it. A solo kill for the Gragas. Meanwhile, in the top lane, a hook's gonna land onto Ona. Broken Blade looking for the stun, root goes down. As Yike, Mickey, and Broken Blade disengage.
Love that play from Zeus. He lures Hans Sama in.
Although he burned his flash and his cleanse, Gumayushi had to do the same on the other side of the map. So it's not just he's expended his resources with nothing happening to his enemy AD carry.
I think the play on towards the top side though really helped out G2 obviously because they do force T1 away, which then gives them Void Grubs. Traditionally when we see the AD carry swap and you don't move, a good read from both Carry and G2, spotting that Carry was up there. Broken Blade now trying to force Owner away, but I think it's more of a bluff than anything else. I don't think you want to over-aggress onto that as Cap's completely out of man in the mid lane and you had it's a little bit.
G2 will start up the grubs. T1 are looking for a Barney. They're looking for a fight here. Mickey looking for that hook. Owner stepping forward, eats an axe. Caps and Mickey standing around the side. Caps low mana. They go into Carrier. Paranoia. There's the shockwave as well. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Broken Blade's going to look to try and keep Zeus around. One already over as Yike kills off Carrier. Owner's killed Caps though. And now Yike has to run from Baker and Gumayushi. Owner so low in the pit. He gets 2. Hans Summer will answer with 1. Cleanses away, but he's not going to be able to get too much more here. He can get a second. Gumayushi able to win out the fight in the end. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, much ado about nothing.
Oh man, it seems like Carrier is getting blown up so far. The initiation onto him gets him so low that then Yike is able to ult into the backline, take out him, and they did get one of the grubs.
He can be focused down by Faker and Gumayushi, and Mickey is just trying his damnedest to help out Hans to a little bit, but it's still Gumayushi who's able to clean up at the back end.
Now has the Bloodthirster complete as G2 have set up towards the top side, TPing away from bot as well. Broken Blade giving up the ghost on that tower. Zeus going to get hooked in here. Still has the explosive cast and the flash. It's more Mickey acting as a distraction as G2 try and rattle their way through this tower. They'll take the second turret of the game, and they continue to push forward here. 5 grubs helping them out quite a lot in taking these towers quickly.
And the price, of course, that they are going to pay is not only the push on the opposite side, but the Dragon number 2 here for T1, which Owner's able to clean up. Faker does not have teleport.
Already used. Zeus caught out with a counter-strike though, and Zeus is met with the whirling death. The curtains open, Hans Summer so low, but Broken Blade can tank that up well enough as G2 managed to escape with a kill. As well though, like 14.5 minutes in, the gold within 100. The difference between the lanes is, well, top side is winning for T1 and bot side is winning for G2. T1 do have those 2 Drakes in their pocket as Owner secures the Rift Herald as well. There's a possibility of a dive in the bot lane, but diving a Gragas is a very tricky affair. So I saw this not work out for DK yesterday. We'll see if T1 have a better affair as there's to suppress immediately. They lock them in. The shotgun coming out as well as Broken Blade tries to survive. The tower will dive, but Caps is low. Faker diving forward, the paranoia on him, and Mickey's going to be the first to pull. G2 all hail the retreat. Try to get the hell out of here because T1 are hungry for blood. Baker will find another as T1 find 2 in the bot lane die.
T1 read G2 perfectly.
He has pulled out here. Looks like he's going to even further improve on his win rate with this champion with how he's playing. He's just been
TP behind. Faker doesn't have flash, doesn't have spirit rush. Carrier's going to try and keep Cabs busy. Ona comes across the wall with the edge of Ishtal. Will get himself to the blast cone in time. Faker's still trying to retreat down towards the bottom side, but he'll get out as well. And all the meanwhile, Zeus just TPs the top lane and takes another tower.
I think the next thing you have to look to for G2 is you're really worried about your mid tower, since T1 have the Rift Herald in their pocket.
Yep.
So a lot of territory to work with now. And if Yike can get one more level, you actually get a nice range boost on your ultimate, but
Solar Flare. Yike puts up the shroud. In goes the stinger, and down onto the backline goes Yike. Looking for that paranoia. Mickey knocked in as well. Gumayushi has to flash away. The whirling death coming out from Hansama. And Faker's on the flank. Carrier chased out by Broken Blade. There'll be one. Faker trying to get onto Hansama as well. Lands the charm. Ona's there to help. The cleanse from Hans is not enough. And now it's a 3v4. T1 advancing again. Gumayushi was able to escape. Faker has another spirit rush. The charm goes wide. Yike and Caps alongside Broken Blade able to keep on to their lives right now. Zeus, though, can look for more. Broken Blade stepping forward into the darkness. Rift Herald pushed in the mid lane. That's going to take the tower, and it's only a Chem Drake. The T1 really care too much about it. G2 realize they can't fight around it anymore. And
Flash over the wall, but T1, these team fights consistently going their way.
and this one, yeah, Faker's build not only is it very burst heavy, but it's also very far ahead. Oh, never mind.
Into the shockwave, they look for Gumayushi. He doesn't have the flash, and they will find him. Another hook's going to land onto Ona as the chase continues. Zeus coming in with the explosive cast, though, and G2 have to be careful because TP coming in from Faker. Mickey dodges away from the explosive cast, pulls Carrier in. The charm goes wide. Unsummer still cleanses just in case.
Carries. Even the 2 items just can be completed for Caps means he's quite dangerous when it comes to that Nocturne Orianna combo.
Solar Flare onto Caps. Faker going in with the charm, only hits onto Mickey. Cut and Call coming out as well. There's the Impale, and Mickey's just dragged in a double counter strike into the shockwave though, and Faker is down. Explosive cast will separate Caps and Hansama from the fight. Zeus on that front line, 3 items strong, and he's trying to use them to their full effect. Ona down to about half HP. Zeus low as well. Hansama trying to open up on Gumayushi, who still has the flash. In the end, a support for mid lane trade.
To fight this.
G2 with no ultimates. Broken Blade dashing in here, jumping across that wall. Ona they're trying to smite the Drake, would be soul for them. Counter-strike from Broken Blade. Here comes Zeus. Flash, Zenith Blade. They look for the engage onto Hansama, who has to flash away himself. Caps is down to half HP. Broken Blade jumps across the pit. And now Mickey's here to bolster the defenses. Faker on his way back doesn't have the teleport. The Drake secured Chem Soul. Now for T1, G2 begin to back away from the fight, realize they don't really want any more of this action. Yike slowed up though, a hook goes down, only onto Ona. Caps knocked back! Zeus finds him! And now Yike's running for the hills, locked up with a captive audience. Yike down 2. It's a Baron on the cards for T1.
G2 took the most dangerous route out of that fight, and T1 were happy to collapse.
There's a little bit of vision here for G2, that ward just outside of the pit, giving them a sense of what's going on inside it. Broken Blade looking for the flank. No flash on him, but does have that Grandmaster's Might. Mickey looking for the engage, but realizes pretty sharpish that he can't go for it. Still charmed up. Spirit rush forward by Faker. There's the curtain calls as well, and it's curtains for Mickey. Carrier takes him. And T1 take the Baron. They are in firm control of the game as Hansama's overstepped 2. Hansama's down 2. T1 6k ahead, a soul, a Baron, and maybe more of his Broken Blade's charmed. And T1 continue to collapse. The jump away from Broken Blade will keep them safe for a moment, but T1 are knocking on the door.
Dude, Zeus is just the GOAT. He's
MVP, holy moly.
He is such a playmaker. You think of the God of Lightning with him, but, you know, God of the Kegs in this game. Really, really impressive. Game number 1 here so far for T1, and after the Baron push, already taking mid inhibitor, they have so much money to spend.
Very small window there to engage. They did have a little bit of vision. A TP coming in. Zeus will be the one on the front line, Faker will be the one on the back, but Zeus immediately locked up. You can see how much damage he can tank. Faker going in with the charm, it goes wide. Zeus almost falls to the whirling death and he still has the locket. Faker dodges away from the hook, Zeus going back in, and there's your contribution. Mickey falls, the shockwave from Caps. All it can do is buy him a second to wait. The flash charm from Faker. It's all done, it's all over, but the Nexus falling. T1 are gonna go 1-0 up.
Zeus can do no wrong. TP's in to what should have been his death, but instead it's T1 killing G2 and taking game number 1.
T1 may have limped through summer, but this is Worlds, and they are here to stay.
Broken Blade and Yike trying to do anything, but they still have the Impale, the suppression afterwards with the Edge of Ishtal, the chase onto Yike, the explosive cask, and as you say, Zeus godly with his placements today. The Nexus towers fall, and T1 will go 1 game away from Paris and quarterfinals. Mickey gets a kill.
worth.
This time around, T1 do not have the Gragas cast to disrupt G2, and they are still going to be vulnerable to these Orianna Nocturne combinations that now even have a bit better of follow-up with Kai'Sa on the team.
To try and push out that wave. G2 brought Hans and Mickey into mid to try and get the shove there as well. The problem for G2 is if they do look for an engage, Zeus still has the TP where Caps does not. So this could very quickly turn into a 5v4. Broken Blade very low on rage as well, starting to build it up as he jumps onto Ona. He's only a third of the way there so far. Ona going lower though, Dustbringer coming out, double flash as Mickey looked for the flash hook. Meanwhile in the bot lane, Caps trading up with Zeus. Carrier going back in, Faker with the Spirit Rush, has 2 charges left. G2 need to get away because Faker can look for another Spirit Rush, another Orb of Deception. Won't find too much more. G2 start up the grubs. They're quite hurt though. Half HP on Yike. Broken Blade building up towards that Mega, looking for an arm into the wall if anyone advances through that choke point.
I love G2's calls there, playing for damage. You saw Caps down here actually poking out Zeus, and then immediately jumping on the 2 separated in river to just play for some health bars to be able to get yourselves the objectives first. The small chunks in damage allow them the opening.
Just want the best League of Legends we can see. T1 here will be able to get the Drake. G2 really shouldn't fight this because Broken Blade TP'd up to the top lane only a few moments ago. If they try to invest, obviously Zeus can join the battle and they would be at a numbers disadvantage again. They won't battle against it. See Yike just hovering Hansama and Mickey in case anything does happen, but with Guma and Carrier backing away.
Grubs are up, but it looks like they're just going to shift Faker up towards that top side. I wasn't sure if they just went all in on trying to burn that flash, but Mickey...
Oh, Faker goes in with the Spirit Rush, the Charm landing as well, and Mickey is done for. First blood in the first 2 games. Mickey dies, Ona takes the kill.
You've now burnt both Faker's ult and Owner's ult right before the Void Grub spawns, so I'm not going to say it was a planned good death, but could actually work out as a decent death here for G2 when they do actually go to try and contest on towards those next round of Void Grubs.
It's interesting because Broken Blade doesn't have teleport, but Owner's actually heading towards Broken Blade rather than the Void Grubs.
Yeah, he's looking for this play down towards the bottom side. Broken Blade flashes immediately met with a fist in his face. Broken Blade trying to get away from this. Obviously, has to try and escape from Ona, who flashes forward. Another Bolt Breaker. Broken Blade trying to dodge it. Ona holds it forever. Ona finds another as Broken Blade can't escape his clutches.
There was no escape there. Owner waiting over the wall. Broken Blade tried to sidestep it, but good call from Owner, just hold on. But still on the opposite side, Void Grubs galore. And it will be, I imagine Zeus starting to put a bit of pressure here to answer for some of the turret places. Faker, no way he catches Mickey again.
You put everyone on pause when you said that. Everyone's like...
Oh, Mickey looking for the hook here. So Yike can come in with the paranoia. There's the depth charge as well. The chase forward. Kerry has joined his mid laner. Faker flashes away. The ignite ticking on him won't be enough. There's the stun into the shield of the Wraith. Daybreak into the solar flare into the death of Yike. Rob, your no was heard around Europe. They were so close, but they just couldn't quite find the damage to kill off Faker.
So good vision toggle by the observers.
And then the engage comes through from Mickey, and it's a nice setup. Carry here to try and help, but oh, bot side.
Oh, Zeus flashes away. He's hit with a house. And Caps and Broken Blade find a kill. Carrier's looking to collapse here as well as Gumayushi, but this tower is already quite low, down to 1 plate remaining on it. Carrier going in with the Zenith Blade. Gumayushi there with the Deadly Flourish as well. Broken Blade still pretty tanky though. Yike's here to join the fray. Has the paranoia. Can't go into Guma, but there's a flash and a barrier on that AD carry, making it a little bit more suspect to go for the dive. Mickey and Hansama are starting to collapse, and this will be first tower over to G2.
Faker even dropped off that top tower, trying to move down to see if he can cover the mid lane, so then G2 can't always just push in towards mid as well. But G2 are on the bot side. Zeus TP's top to get the top turret as well. A huge amount of this go back and forth thanks to these plays.
Still, I think it's a hugely beneficial kind of response from G2 because they get their bonus first turret.
No big surprises there. Broken Blade trying to hide in the top lane. He's going to TP away. Will he escape? You can see it on the minimap. The Counter-Strike finds him alongside the cease and desist, and Broken Blade doesn't have a hope in hell of escaping this one. Zeus leaps on his base and takes another 4-1 now to T1.
It's interesting that they have such a bounty on Broken Blade's head, it feels like. Not in a literal sense, but they've got a target on his back. T1 keep on going for these assassination attempts onto Broken Blade. It's almost like when they gave up the 6 grubs, they were saying, you are not going to have a split pusher that can use these. We're going to make sure of it because while we did give up the 6 grub buff, you know, we killed Broken Blade when we did that, and then we're going to keep looking for kills on him and try and really put that Gnar behind to the point that Zeus is going to be able to control side lanes. Faker is going to be able to
Another
get
charm
hits.
hits once again. Mickey thought he was safe in his own jungle, but there is nowhere safe from T1. And this is the moment in the game, in game 1, where we saw T1 begin to explode it away from G2's grasp. You can see already 2,500 gold ahead. Now with the Rift Herald charging through mid, they're going to open up the map and make it so much more tricky for G2 to do anything. Charm wide there by Faker, but he's just creating space. The Solar Flare hits. Hansama has to burn the cleanse, and Zeus is on the flank. The counter strike. Hansama flashes it. Rift Herald charge forward. Zona can jump across that wall and look for Hansama. Yike with a fear, only onto Zeus. They're looking for the damage. The Shockwave will find him. Hansama surviving up towards the top side for as long as he can in the face of Ona, but now he's down and Carry is down alongside him. G2 find 2. They lose their mid-tier 1. Can they find anything more? I think
And that's where exactly where you want it. The big shockwave plays are going to be the ones that you need to try and leverage yourself back into this game. You have the Nocturne delivery. We'll see if they're able to make something. It won't be now because, of course, they're splitting and trying to grab tower first.
I think it still will be a little tough for G2 though, because Caps has gone for this more defensive build. Up and in towards the Zhonya's first means he doesn't really have that big firepower. I think it's the correct way to go because there's a lot of threat here with the dive from Owner and Faker and even Kerry being able to follow up, but it does mean that you just lack that oomph in your ultimate for this Orianna.
At the moment, T1 in control of the game, about 3,000 gold ahead. A Drake apiece means there's no soul point soon, but we see Caps pushing in the top lane and the TP behind. Zeus on the collapse, has the flash. Caps goes one way, Zeus goes the other. Now he tracks back, knowing that Caps is there. The paranoia coming out as Mickey and Yike look to collapse. A flash away from the shockwave from Zeus is gorgeous. And once again, Zeus in this series puts G2 in their place.
So they definitely have some really good looks here.
BB's just finished his Mega now and he's gone in.
He still gets the Gnar into the wall. The backline, Gumayushi flashes away. The shockwave, I think, maybe a little bit early there as Broken Blade is forced low. Spirit Rush forward by Faker as T1 begins to collapse. And Mickey's burst on the menu again. Faker with a Spirit Rush across the wall, looking for Yike. No curtain call connects, and G2 are able to walk away.
Great target selection from T1. They see that Broken Blade is about to go mini-Gnar.
Just massive from T1. As you say, that flash timing from Gumayushi, absolutely perfect. They're looking for the third Drake. Onan will go back towards it. They were just kind of checking to make sure that G2 hadn't snuck towards the Baron to try and take that away, while T1 were getting themselves to 2 dragons in this game.
Timing really has been the biggest advantage for T1. I feel like not only the defensive kind of timing there with the flash, but also they never hesitate on their engages.
So I think it's more, as you can see, like losing side lane turrets for investing on that bottom side. And again, T1 playing off wave states excellently, pushing mid, catching out G2, and now G2 trying to move in mid, but they could get collapsed on from behind.
There's a pincer movement brewing here.
Teleport.
See the TP behind, that's
Faker.
Faker. Counter TP being used by Broken Blade. Curtain Call coming in as the stopwatch is used. Dion onto the backline, jumps Gumayushi, a good shockwave as well onto Zeus. And now we see Hansama having to try and get away from this. Owner going in as he puts the damage down onto Caps. Owner flashing away, Zeus the same, the killer instinct from Hansama. Gets Zeus in response, now Faker diving around the fight, a hook coming out. Broken Blade trying to get into the Mega Gnar. He'll jump on their heads. Gooba stopped them, Faker escaping. Carrier slammed into the wall. On the top side, Yike killed off Gumayushi. And G2 somehow find a fight.
Only Faker gets out alive. G2 are going to get some extra money with the tower mid, and Faker just barely does so. Broken Blade hunting for him, but he's not going to find the hiding spot. G2 strike back.
Paranoia to get that little bit of extra vision. I love the not using the shockwave, but immediately they do. Paranoia in, Faker down, Solar Flare onto the backline as well. We see Hansama falling forward. Mickey trying to get into this fight. Broken Blade on his way across as well. Carrier, Owner there as well with Gumayushi trying to get away. Doesn't have the flash. Owner doesn't. Carrier goes back in with the Zenith Blade. He's a sacrifice. A sacrificial lamb for G2. As there's 2 more on the board for them.
Keep the pace up. G2, they do not let you rest. Are forced to make a decision here. Is it going to be a dangerous face check, or are they going to try and get control of the mid wave first?
Mickey looking for the hook. There's the charm. Deadly Flush going in. Owner looking for that back line. The Solar Flare hits 2. Paranoia coming out. Owner can't go in with the engage. Zeus now locked out. Pops the stopwatch to buy himself a little bit of time. He's feared though. The shockwave hits onto Owner as he looks for the engage. goes in with a cease and desist. The Guardian Angel still sitting on Ona's shoulders, will bring him back to life. Broken Blade with a good double arm into the wall. Ona trying to get back in with that shield from the Vault Breaker, but he will fall. Baker can't escape Broken Blade. Gumayushi now trying to dance his way away, but the eyes are on carrier for G2. They're looking for one more. Gumayushi will have the fleet, will have the move speed from this Jhin. Broken Blade chucks a house out, can't quite land it onto Guma's back. Caps with the dissonance, there's the slow from the red buff. They dodge the captive audience, and Guma's down 2. An ace for G2.
Be a G2 Baron.
Now, you said it in game 1, Kobe. G2 great at fighting from behind, and here we see them coming to life in Berlin, looking to get themselves to 1-on-1 against T1 in this quarterfinals qualification match.
For that big shockwave as well. And it's after that, again, just moving back, buying space here as BB using that ultimate.
Formation of the Gnar as well. Now with the Baron buff, they can get so many rewards. Tier 2 tower doesn't stand a chance. That's another 800 gold for the team, immediately picked up. Void Mites from their 6 Void Grubs spotting out.
Faker being forced back to the fountain, has the flash, has the TP, but G2 are trying to open up the base. Ona looking for that flank. His GA not back off cooldown yet, about half the way forward. Inhibitor tower and inhibitor for G2 in the top lane. They take a gold lead for the first time in what feels like the series, at least in the last 30 minutes or so.
Is in this top side trying to shove in. They sent Ari to try and help him out, so looking to go for that cross map. Just G2 though, dropping, only playing off of 2 waves. Now the reset comes through for Broken Blade. He has no TP, so T1 maybe looking for the TP ward that's right in behind them.
So much threat. So we'll see here. You even have another stasis built by Hansama. It's just so durable for G2. They're just bullying them.
Solar Flare, Hansama dodges, only gets slowed. Broken Blade goes in with an arm only onto Ona. Zeus is TP'd in behind, and he dives onto Hansama immediately. And Hansama has a stopwatch, but he doesn't have much life left afterwards. He manages to get away with the killer instinct, but Mickey and Caps are only down. Ona face plants the wall this time. Broken Blade left it to his own devices, and T1 clean him up. The flash in from Zeus with a counter-strike. Mickey trying to dredge line his way out of this one, but Faker's on the chase, as is Carrier. And Mickey, those hooks are sending you to Davy Jones's locker. Faker will take it. T1 will take the fight.
Mickey is gone 6 feet under, but G2 cannot fathom how T1 have got in behind them so consistently. It was a delay played on the TP. It's a delay take on Mickey because 50 seconds until Dragon will deny a lot of control to G2. But T1, again, these great teleport flanks for Zeus.
To go get Caps, they do chase down Hansama, and the Dragon's Soul is theirs to set up. Wait, Zeus has hiding once again. Look at him.
You can see Mickey's only just getting up towards where the red buff is. The paranoia comes out. It's Guma that secures the Drake. Now looking up towards the top side, Zeus caught out with the paranoia, gets the counter-strike, but there's the fear as well. The killer instinct coming in from Hansama as they look to catch out Zeus. The rest of T1 trying to come back to defend their top laner, but Zeus will be down before they can get there. G2 find one. On the doors of the Nexus now is T1 trying to defend.
Shockwave is still up and available for Caps. You have to be so careful as T1 as you try to defend this. How much do G2 want to try and take super minions on the top side as well?
It's so big. 3 inhibitors here. You're going to get... well, can they get 3?
Top just respawned as they were taking the second one, so it looks like it's only going to be 2. All Ona needs to do is get into this pit, and he might be able to snipe this away. The curtain's open. An encore for Gumayushi. Ona gets into it! And he takes it! Ona will pay the ultimate price for his ability to steal the Baron. He keeps T1 in the game, and G2 just couldn't dot their I's and cross their T's. The tankiness the minions get from the Baron buff, they'll be spawning in a few seconds' time for T1. There they are. They'll help them defend. Faker goes in. Death charge. Shockwave! There's 2 knocked up, but Zeus is already on the back line. The Gnar coming out from Broken Blade as well. Zeus is doing so much work. Caps down. Hansama running for his life. Faker charms up Broken Blade. Zeus is just ripping through G2. Faker survives on the backline. Yike trying to do everything he can. The paranoia will help him take out his enemy jungler. Hansama trying to survive here. Zeus has to call off the chase, but T1 once again hold on to the game. Zeus has his TP and he's going to match the supers pushing in the top side. G2 have control of the river right now. Solar Flare, Hansama only slowed. But Caps is the one they dive into and immediately assassinate him. Caps is swimming with the fishes and Hansama is going to join him. T1 immediately pounce and G2 don't know what hit him.
T1 are forever clutch and G2 are finding out about it in the worst possible way. Zeus chasing down Broken Blade as T1 turn towards the outer Yike. The last one was stolen. Can you find revenge?
A vision in the pit. Gumayuchi trying to keep him at bay. No paranoia for Yike, but does have the flash. Guma will take the blast cone. Yike, can you do it? We saw you steal one versus Hanwha live. He puts the Dustbringer over the wall and immediately backs away. G2 have called, do not fight this fight, we can take the next.
And they use the blast cone to jump onto Caps' head. Even with these defensive items we keep pointing out for G2, the Guardian Angel and Sterix for Yike.
Their world title.
A minute left on this Elder Dragon as well means that 2 more waves that you have to try and hold off. But I don't even know if you get that. Team 1 can just start to look at Nexus turrets off this wave.
It's got to be something miraculous. You've got a GA on Gumayushi, you've got Faker with the Spirit Rush, the curtain's open. I don't think G2 is getting a second act. The dive onto the backline by Yike, but immediately he is low. Caps already assassinated on the back, and T1 are just ripping them to shreds. T1 absolutely melting G2 under their Nexus towers. History doesn't repeat itself, but it damn well rhymes. It's another Friday, it's another T1 win.
These were some of the best highlights from today's matchup at the Swiss stage of Worlds 2024.
So not having that flash available for that combo is going to be a bit sad.
Flash in onto On here, doesn't have the exhaust and a flash of his own. Zenith plays onto Junja to try and get himself away. Exhaust on the Sejuani, not the target you want. Jun trying to join the fray. Elk having to cleanse flash away as Jun is now caught with a Shadowing Strike, and PSG find first blood in the bot lane and will force Jun away.
Sure, PSG just going to be able to get these Void Grubs no problem. And if you look at the domino effect of some of those plays, guess what a mid-prio for Yone could turn into? It's more ganks on bottom side. Jinjia could go down back bottom side, as well as possible Maple Room. So there are a lot of good things building up towards consecutive plays, since not only On used summoner spells in the bottom side, but it was also Elk.
About when they're 1,000 gold behind PSG in the 1-2 matches, right? Because this is not where BLG expected to be. It's kind of where PSG expected to be, as Betty should be able to go away here. The Zenith Blade going in. Betty trying to trade back onto Elk. On went in with the Zenith Blade himself. Doesn't have the exhaust up. Now he's taking the Magnet Storm coming out as well. And what is On doing? Looking for the engage, thinking Shun would back him up, but he was left to his own devices. And in the end, he's left to his demise.
Well, the thing is, one of the players that has been involved in some of these Worlds winning rosters was Junja, and he's keeping it going.
Goes in with the Glacial Prism. The cleanse was available for Elk, and he holds it. The bullet time opens up. Jun going in with the Cyclone, looking to make a Tempest. He'll take one. Junja falls. Woody trying to get the CC onto Shun to keep Betty alive. Shun holds it and dies in the end. Tried to flash away, but Betty puts him in the dirt. But PSG are using the time to take a Drake for themselves. They know they can then go across and even try to catch Night Out, who'll get the blast cone, but Junja's gonna follow him across.
Beast, and he's only continued to show up for this roster. Now that he's on 2-0, he's gonna have this Triforce completed off of the 3 set as well. He's in prime position to play out of his mind to try and carry PSG across the line. Plus, again, you don't have a huge amount of lockup that can really keep him in check. He has the cleanse for anything that On has, then has the Arcane Shift and a flash for so much of what BLG are trying to bring to the table.
Exactly. One of the few AD carries that doesn't come.
Betty here to join the battle. Maple gets the first move, can look for a flank here with the Fate Seal, dashes forward, unbinds his soul On down to half HP. The Solar Flare goes in with a bullet time, and that's 2 locked up, and Woody's the first to fall. Maple was distracted by Knight. Betty dashing back in between worlds. Knight can look for more. Maple dives in with a Fate Seal, but BLG will happily take the triple for Elk.
And just like that, it crumbles in PSG's fingers.
Jun cleared out the ward. See On his way up as well. TP coming in as PSG. Well, they're not going to do anything to help out Azure here. He's dead. Knight takes it. BLG will get the push in the top side, and that gold is even now.
And that was just good timing from BLG. You could look at the rest of the map and maybe in a position to match on towards this top or bot side play, but will still be first tower, I believe, for PSG.
No, I think BLG take it. They have
they
Demolish,
will, yeah.
right? They have 3 people in the Demolish from Bin. They should be able to take this one first. Maple trying to match, as you say, on the bottom side, but BLG with the TP in. Invests a lot to make sure they take the first turret, and it does give them that gold infusion that they were looking for.
Yeah, BLG, you can't make mistakes against them like that very frequently. Bin has no teleport, so the fact that Aja has walked here and BLG see Aja here, they should know, all right, fine, PSG, you have the numbers. We're just going to keep Bin splitting on bottom side. You can have a Rift Herald, which will at least be a nice takeaway.
Yeah, get more gold back for Bin, who is 24 CS down, as expected in a ranged into melee matchup in the top lane that was left to its own devices, but he's only about 250 gold out of pocket right now. Woody looking towards top lane though. Knight does have that between worlds and his flash.
Reset, and they'd actually started to shift kind of over towards mid to cover that mid lane play. So it's a nice read from PSG, and Knight just not wanting to give over that little bit more. We'll just stick in the bush and pick up this wave as it crashes. But look at the quick move. Rift Herald and Toe, they're going to try and crack mid lane for this as PSG.
Make him burn that, has to wait for the cooldown, but PSG will use the fact that On is on the top side of the map to start themselves up a dragon.
That's what I was going to say, is what is that something, right, for BLG, because there's no top tower to really put pressure onto. PSG are still holding on towards mid. They have push on bot, so it kind of was like a Hail Mary, it feels like nearly for BLG, to hope they could cross-map something, but I think you're pretty happy as PSG that...
Look at the pressure PSG are putting on. TP from Knight away from the wave. PSG should be able to get the tier 2 here, but they might sacrifice their tier 1 in mid for it. Elk opens up on the tower, takes it, and the tier 2 will be exchanged. BLG deciding that they couldn't defend anyway, and so they want to make sure they open up the map.
And it's not a bad idea. You do get 2 towers there for it, so at least it's something.
True.
But in the grand scheme of things, PSG Talon are still up in towers there, getting more gold. So.
But I will say, we're going down this Animal Farm route. I feel like the mid lane towers are quite important as well. Now that PSG have managed to get one in response, obviously that's great, but up is Q3. PSG still fighting over this dragon. TP coming in from Azure as well. He's just finished the Shadow Flame. 2 items on the cannon. Bin will TP to the control ward down towards the top side of the fight. Jun is in the pit. Azure is behind them. There's a control ward there. Betty putting damage into the On right now. Jun going in with the Cyclone onto the backline. Finds Maple but doesn't find Betty. Azure and PSG will disengage the fight. Jun has to flash the wall, but he's locked up with his fate sealed. Bin now in the pit trying to battle against Jun and Maple, but BLG are all retreating. Will PSG look for more? Azure has the flash, has the slicing motion, but PSG decide that's enough.
On Baron, in the last team fight, they divide and conquer. Can they just get this objective?
Bin uses the Hex there to see the information. Woody diving in, and he stops Elp from putting on the bullet time. The slicing mouse from on the back line as well. Knight's in the pit, but Maple puts him in the dirt. Bin now going in for a little bit more, but can't land the counter strike onto Maple. Another is down. On has fallen. PSG are somehow beating BLG. Wasn't quite far enough away from where Elk was ulting to stop the crash down hitting him. As soon as Woody hit him with the crash down, he gets bounced back by that wall. We're talking a matter of like 2 centimeters there.
Of the entire rift right now.
And they got the stun as well onto Elk, who has the flash and will use it to dash away from any follow-up engage. Jun going in with the Cyclone, trying to make a hurricane rip through PSG. They'll find one already. Jun stunned up. Azure flashing away from the Solar Flare. All the while, Betty and Maple were pushing in the bot side. They take a tier 2. Maple looks for a little bit more. On lands the stun with the Shield of Daybreak. The weirding out from Knight for a little bit of damage as well. True shot barrage between the uprights.
Disappointed with their performance, where they didn't look as clean as they possibly could have, but here.
Cyclone again from Jun. True shot barrage coming out from Betty as well. Between worlds, Jun just locked up in it. He'll flash across. On falling low, 200 HP on him now as Betty looks to open up. Fate sealed, the slicing Maelstrom coming in too. Jun's down, Bin's down, On's down! And BLG are up. It's only Knight and Elk left alive. Can they defend against PSG? The TP is going to come in from Azure. The bullet time to clear the wave. One inhibitor seems to be the prize PSG get for winning that fight. Elk and Knight will try and defend at the Nexus Towers, and PSG probably won't push for more. They don't invest the TP from Azure. They will retreat after finding that inhib, and a 7,000 gold lead for the PCS #1 seed.
It completely out-itemized. They're the ones that have to pull out the surprise play.
I think a lot of people forget that this was...
behind.
Oh, hang on, TP
Behind. Woody's going to be engaged on here, but On is now in the meat grinder. Maple goes in with the face sealed, and Azure is just waiting for his opportunity to open up. Bin's taken one. The slicing Maelstrom will find another, though. Betty being chased out by Jun. He'll flash away. Jun dies to Betty, and Betty survives. Bin diving in onto Maple, who can unbind his soul and then dash back. Jun just trying to keep the dragon aggro for now. Maple put into the dirt by Bin. PSG still have 2 alive. Elk's going to try and keep the dragon aggro, but Betty can do a lot of work from a lot of range right now. Elk has the bullet time coming up in 7 seconds. Junja trying to heal himself back up in the jungle. Elk there makes it rain. Bin going to try and get for the reset. Elk still full HP. Bullet time, no flash, no... Well, it has the flash, but no cleanse. Bin TP's in. Junja's looking for it. And Elk finds one. The shutdown, he'll find another great cleanse from Elk. Junja able to survive, but Bin will take the Drake, the soul, not quite, but PSG.
Bin wins those! Oh my goodness, he wins the 1v1 with Maple on Yone up on the top side of the map.
Don't really need them on MF because you have that strut on. That Solar Flare was a mile wide. On, gets caught with the Glacial Prison, has no flash, has the exhaust, will get away for now. The world's between as Woody trying to escape, but he's just burst out by Elk. Those 4 items coming to the fore for BLG. A Cyclone onto Ginger, who has to flash as well. The bullet time comes out, the Slicing Maelstrom, as Bin is trying to dive across them. Betty and Maple, the only 2 left alive for PSG. Maple will flash, but the bullet still finds his back. BLG win the fight.
Huge pick right there. Maybe it was a caster curse. BLG looking like they are on the warpath. Another objective bounty on top of it. Lot of bounty gold, both objective and champion, going the way of BLG. Huge comeback swing available in the last couple of plays.
And a bunch of waves crashing at the same time. Cannon in the bot lane still harassing that tower down. Mid lane turret is taken by BLG. The gold swings in their favor for the first time in a long time in this game.
I think there is an angle for PSG though to create pressure on this top side. You already look at where Maple is. 30 seconds until Dragon. BLG have to respond to this because it's an open inhibitor. So the grand scheme of things.
Oh, BLG setting up something here. Ginger able to dodge away from On, puts the Glacial Prism back in him. Down to half HP. The Mystic shots from Betty, and On is off. Betty now locked in the pit with Knight, but do you really want to be locked in there with him? The TP in from Azure as well, looking for that Slicing Maelstrom. Remember, there's no exhaust as well. Maple Finn still looking for that flank. Woody's going to try and mark him. They see him, the counter-strike goes in. The bullet time as well, Azure's ripped to pieces. Fate sealed from Maple isn't enough. Finn diving onto Woody, and that's 2. Betty forced away, has to dash away from Shun, and Finn is just doing so much work on the back line. It's a double for Elk. The flank sublime from BLG.
At the end of the day, it's been Jax in back-to-back Dragon fights. He gets the job done, and with the Baron buff, BLG are inside the base.
And it just helps out Elk so much. The bullet time is perfect. The flash away from the Yone ult as well. Elk needed to be that follow-up and damage, and he's putting PSG down.
Betty's time to shine. He opens up on Elk, who tanks the tower. Bin going in with a counter-strike as well. They'll just take one Nexus tower for now, but Betty gets the slow. Knight goes in, and Betty dashes away. He can't survive the weirding. Puts him 6 feet under, and now BLG will open up on the second Nexus tower. Woody going back in, looking for Bin again, but Bin somehow still survives. PSG wiped away under their Nexus towers. Azure spawns just in time to watch the Nexus fall.
I think it's also really interesting because BLG have kind of identified, hang on a second, PSG Talon don't have a lot of engage tools. They're a lot better at disengage. And when you look at BLG, Jace and probably an AP Kai'Sa.
The smite for it though. Knight's coming across. Maple working his way towards the river as well. Ginger should be able to secure at least one of these. Chucks out another rock at Shun and Knight. Bin now moving from the top side. Ginger using his smite to secure the second grub, or the first for his team, but the second in totality on here. Woody joining the battle as well. Bin still keeping that grub aggroed. Shun has his smite back up and can get the Scuttle Crab and the grub as well.
But that was kind of what you want to see from BLG, this slow pace when it comes to the fight. So then you have to try and back up as PSG, because without Woody there, they don't really have a big engage tool. Maple had already used his ultimate.
I don't really think he wants to challenge this, and it's so interesting how many things kind of domino into each other in that bot lane, right? Like Elk getting the reset, then being able to freeze it out. He has the cull, there's already 49 stacks left on it, so he's over halfway towards completing it. But because of the way that they then push the lane out, Ginger actually getting caught here as Jun going in for the engage on with a great hook, and Ginger falls for first blood.
And to your point, Medic, this is what Prime BLG looks like. This movement from On, constantly shifting around the map, holding positions so then he can get out.
Is no longer an option for Maple. Jun should be able to chase him down, who dash across the wall with a flap. Knight still chasing here, Glacial Prison used just to make sure that this dragon is going extinct alongside his buddies. Knight will secure the kill, his second of the game. Want to funnel it on.
You got to point it somewhere else. Yeah.
Try and get some on Maple, who's about 700 gold behind in the mid lane and maybe more, as there's the flash engage from Shun. Maple down again, and Shun joins Knight on the scoreboard. Seat has been seeing a lot of play in solo queue recently and in ARAM, but Kobe, do you want to elucidate why he may have gone this?
Well, it's obviously because of the world song, Heavy Lies the Crown, and it's a crown.
Also, if you can't get a murder book, you need a murder crown.
Oh, so we see Shun getting caught up here. PSG trying to fight it. Bin going in with the counter-strike. Woody misses, but gets the charm, doesn't get the knock-up, and now he needs to get the hell out of there. Depth charge onto Ginger. It's another for Knight. He's stacking the hubris. Put them back under the ground. Knight finds another double, and there's 19 stacks on his hubris already.
You know, 1-for-1 on trades for ultimates and flashes used there, with Woody investing everything. Maybe that can open up a place for PSG to attack. It's so difficult because set up with a teleport. Maybe they...
So Betty has no Feather Storm, but does have a cleanse and a flash. On's trying to get on top of him to get the staggering blows down. They're going to land the dredge line onto Woody, who dashes back with a battle dance and escapes. Well played. You have done damage to dies. You get a big burst of extra AD for the next 90 seconds, and that can stack up as well, right? So you get stronger through the course of the fight, through your hubris, which is probably why the item was named that way. Hover around this bot side to keep this tower alive. Maple's here as well. Shun is going to meet him. Impale lands onto one. The dredge line short from On. Elks, though, still looking for the plate. There's one minion still alive. On will now tank up the tower, and Woody will have a grand entrance and give On a grand exit.
Their dream of team fighting their way out of it, and does get all the way into enemy territory. So no further benefit gain there, but still, even being able to Skarner ult under tower,
rejoin with his teammates. PSG are looking for that fight. Ginger very tanky with the Zeke's convergence. Maple still stacking up, sneezing all over BLG. Woody looking for that flank, has the quickness, has the flash in a couple of seconds. They engage with the Glacial Prison. Feather Storm coming out from Betty, quickness from Woody. They're looking for On, but the depth charge will lock him up for a second. On now, sacrificed by BLG. As PSG managed to find a kill. Bin still pushing in the bot side. Jun being chased out by Aja, but doesn't quite land the stun into the wall. Jun just still looking for Elk, who has the cleanse, but goes for Knight instead. Pulls him back. Where's the damage? It's Aja right now. The keeper's verdict is that Knight is guilty. His hubris has been his downfall as Junja puts him 6 feet under.
there's no way BLG had the correct timer on Aja's teleport, I feel like. You know, they kind of walk into this, and even if they had gotten the smite there, this is huge for PSG.
And even the silver lining of getting bot tower was just answered by top for PSG. Now, BLG will get this tower, but you can already look at bot side and see that PSG are going to trade as well. So what had been a good start for BLG is really starting to disappear as Aja now solo under the tower. This could be a bit of risky play.
He has the keeper's verdict in a few seconds, still has his flash. Betty trying to come across as well. He's met with Knight. The accelerated shock blast doing a lot of work on, looking for that turret. TP coming in from PSG as they look to collapse. On not tanking the tower yet, has that concussive blow. Steadfast presence coming out. There's the quickness. It's only onto the tank so far, but on's the first target. Glacial Prison coming down as well with Slow Maple for a second, but Junja's here to join the Barney, to join the fight. PSG find another bin, is pinged to hit that mid lane tower, but there's still a couple of seconds before he can get on it. Betty's going to try and answer him. He has the demolish and 5 grubs. It will be enough to take the turret.
But it's the exact same thing again. BLG not respecting this chase even further. PSG not really sure how they want to approach this. Aja has his teleport up, but he's still going to run there. Terra goes down, and now if this Hoppy shows on the wave, Jace TP's in.
There's the TP in. Aja can TP as well. Will answer with one of his own. BLG moved up as 4 for now. Bin's going to join them. Junja trying to get in towards the pit to take the Drake. Unlocked up. The Blade Caller coming back as well, and Junja will land the smite. But Woody goes down first. Shun and Bin, the next 2 targets. It's support for support so far. Aja still looking for a little bit more. Knight.
Got 2 fat tanks in front of you. Can't really get the damage around them. Forces the flash with just the raw Skarner ultimate, and PSG, another one.
2 items on him, 2 as well for Maple with the Manamuna in the Spear of Sojourn, 2 as well for Knight, or 2.5 with the Last Whisper in his inventory. Maple still sacking up a little bit slow as the hook goes down onto Junja. There's the double impale into the grand entrance, but the charm coming back with the quickness into the Blade Caller. Look at the CC, look at the suppression on BLG, and look at the flash forward from Betty. He tries to get onto Elk, he can't quite get the damage down. Elk somehow survives through the burn, through everything. Elk is still standing.
Just needed a tiny bit more.
Behind. Elk not here. Knight the first target. Azure locks him up for a second. On going forward as well. Azure still trying to chase Knight out. Bin here to join the party as On flashes away. Keeper's verdict on Bin is that he needs to come back in a couple of moments. He's going to TP behind them here, but perhaps PSG have a moment in the 4v5 to really open up. Mom comes down, the Feather Storm used as well, but Bin finds the 4-man stun on the back line. Elk cleanses away the Blade Caller route, and once again it's Gigabin absolutely styling on fools.
PSG completely fall. The Baron taken for the LPL.
BLG. I'm sure their fans were not worried at any moment in any game in this series.
No, could tell you, not at all. Licking their wounds, do not want to fight BLG once more.
And the important thing for the Poke Comp is to be ahead of the curve in terms of items, in terms of damage, and that's exactly where BLG are now. 6,000 gold, their lead. They have 3 items on Knight. They have 2.5, almost 3 on Elk, who is going to continue to rattle down damage with those Void Seekers. PSG.
And every comp with a Bin Jax is just a Bin Jax comp as well. Yep. Especially if you have a Sejuani, but he's over 2,000 gold ahead now as well, working on the Frozen Heart, so he can be a tank in the middle.
On looking for the hook here, onto Azure, goes in with the depth charge as well. He's impaled, the quickness on the backline, but already BLG have taken 1 kill. It's 1 for 1 so far on, and Azure falling. Betty having to pop the Featherstorm.
Bin.
It's Bin, baby! Already we see Elk killing off Betty. Bin looking for a little bit more as Woody dashes out of the fight. Bin wasn't even really needed, just forces PSG away. Now the tier 2 in the bot lane, the target for BLG.
It's a nice attempt from PSG, but Bin on the flank sets up for BLG to take the fight. Now he's back on towards mid, and he's healthy as you like.
April has hit that execution threshold, and looks like PSG are trying to collapse onto Bin. No flash for him, no way out. You gotta feel. Goes back in with the counter strike.
No way.
Who needs a way out? This is Bin we're talking about, and then he dashes away with a leap strike. Put him in the trash, Bin. Series against FlyQuest as well. It was a very close game in the early game until FlyQuest really began to take it away. They're still looking for more here, though, as Ginger goes in with the Impale. The quickness coming out as well is stopped by the depth charge, but Knight is locked against the wall, and Bin, even he can't rectify this situation, can't bail them out. The Bay caller back onto On, who has to flash away himself. Elk now joining the battle, a double counter-strike as the engage goes on to Azure, but BLG have only found 1 so far. Betty's on that front line, no Featherstorm for him, and Bin finds it again. I doubted him for a second, but he makes you believe that Jax is the most OP pick in the game. It's Bin again to clean it up for BLG.
Bin decimates PSG Talon, and with that, they will be bowing out of the World's Championship, but for BLG, it's only 1 more step on what is a long road ahead of them.
BLG are looking to get to 2-2, to challenge for the quarterfinals, to continue to level up as they defeat PSG.
These were some of the best highlights from all the matches of the day at Worlds 2024. Which moment was your favorite? Let me know in the comment section below. This is OP, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.